Greetings from the holy city of Yerushalayim. My friends, I want to continue our discussion of the current plague that is threatening the world. It is very important to be realistic about what is going on, and realism comes from the Torah. The world has become very unstable, and it is vital to grasp the Torah tightly in order to find stability, courage, and hope in this stressful period. Only Hashem holds the world in place. As King David says in the Psalm, Af tichon tevel bal timot, the world is fixed so that it cannot falter. I am going to repeat the words of the late Rabbi Elchanan Wasserman, who said, and I quote, several times I heard from the holy Chafetz Chaim, that we can learn about the end of our exile from what happened at the end of the exile in Egypt, as it says, I'm quoting the prophet Micha, as in the days of your leaving Egypt, I will show wonders in the final redemption. What does this mean for us? Here is a quote from my latest book, Hold On, Surviving the Days Before Mashiach. The hidden reason that the culture of Egypt disintegrated was in order that the children of Israel should be forced to leave and become a separate and holy nation. So too in today's world, Western culture is in danger of disintegration as a result of internal moral sickness. If and when that occurs, the children of Israel will be saved from our immersion in that alien culture. All the technology, the lack of morality, the obsession with sports and entertainment, the focus on materialism, the shopping, the obsession with eating and other pleasures, it is all going to disappear. Just as the children of Israel left Egypt in order to meet Hashem at Mount Sinai and receive the Torah, so too today, when the children of Israel are freed from slavery to a foreign culture, Hashem will once again descend to the earth and give his people the Torah. As it says, Hashem will let us hear in his compassion for a second time in the presence of all the living, I am Hashem, your God. What this means is that God wanted Israel to receive his Torah and become his special nation, but our ancestors were sinking in idol worship in Egypt. We were so deeply mired in this idolatry, down to the 49th level of impurity, that we could not rescue ourselves. Moses asked Pharaoh to release us, but he refused. So Pharaoh brought about the destruction of his own country. My friends, the same phenomenon is occurring now with us, the children of Israel, on a worldwide scale. We are sunk in the surrounding culture to such an extent that we are unable to extricate ourselves. The surrounding culture is drowning in immorality and hatred of Israel to such an extent that it is actually self-destructing, just like what happened in ancient Egypt. When that process reaches its conclusion, the children of Israel will be free to attach ourselves to Hashem, and the entire world will be renewed. Recently, Rabbi Yitzchak Berkovitz, Rosh Yeshiva of Eish HaTorah, and the Rosh Kollel of the Jerusalem Kollel, wrote a powerful letter discussing the current crisis, in which he said, quote, nobody in this world knows if, when, and how this is going to end. My friends, I want to emphasize one word in this sentence, and that is the two-letter word if, I-F. There's a serious possibility that this plague is not going to go away until it results in a revolution through which the entire world is turned upside down. Since the Garden of Eden, the world has rebelled against its king, but now the rebellion has reached such a point that world civilization is threatened. This is not a passing threat. There will almost certainly be a fundamental change in life on this planet. The children of Israel are going to be released from our bondage to the surrounding culture. And that culture will cease to be a significant force in the world, just as ancient Egypt ceased to be significant after the children of Israel were freed from its power. But we must keep in mind, in Egypt, our ancestors had a choice between following Moses or perishing with the demise of the Egyptian culture. The same is true today. We can either attach ourselves to the new world of Mashiach that is dawning, or we can attempt to hang on to the crumbling world around us, God forbid. Frighteningly, the majority of the children of Israel in Egypt chose not to follow Moses. That is an alarming precedent for our current scenario. We owe it to ourselves to understand what is happening and become aware of the consequences. In the Haftarah for Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, which we read last Shabbos, Prophet Isaiah describes what will happen to the enemies of Israel in the days preceding the final redemption. Please listen to his exact words, and I quote, "Together will be consumed those who eat the flesh of swine, of abominable creatures and rodents," the words of Hashem. My friends, do you remember how the coronavirus was originally transmitted to man? It is very difficult for civilized people even to imagine this, but mankind has reached a very low level, which the prophet predicted thousands of years ago. His words then were totally accurate as to the reality today, thousands of years later. This is another indication that we're near the final redemption. Do you see how the prophet predicted thousands of years ago exactly how this plague would begin? Do you understand that he placed it during the prelude to the final redemption? This is what we call the hand of Hashem. The Haggadah, which we just read on Pesach, says, Hashem took us out of Egypt with a hand that is mighty and an arm that is outstretched, with fear that is great, with signs and with wonders. And the Haggadah continues, with a hand that is mighty. This refers to the epidemic. We must recognize the magnitude of the events taking place in our own days. Just as those who followed Moses out of Egypt were witness to the greatest event in history, the giving of the Torah, so too at the end of history, those who cling to Hashem and reject the surrounding culture will be protected by the Torah. When I say those who cling to Hashem and reject the surrounding culture will be protected by the Torah, this refers to statements made by the Chafetz Chaim and the late Rabbi Yerucham Levenstein, among others, referring to the time of the final war in history before Mashiach, what is known as Milchemes Gog uMagog, the War of Gog and Magog. Obviously, that period has not yet begun, since very holy people have left this earth during the current plague. Significantly, the Torah tells us that before Moses arrived as the leader of the children of Israel in Egypt, quote, Joseph died and all his brothers and the entire generation. Perhaps that hints at the current period in world history when, from the entire generation of our holy elders and rabbis from the pre-Holocaust world, there are so few who remain with us today. When Moses came to rescue our ancestors in Egypt, the generation was bereft and leaderless. It would not be surprising if the same scenario were to occur with our generation. The prophet promises us a new and blessed world. Quote, "For just as the new heavens and new earth that I will make will endure before me," the words of Hashem, "so will your offspring and your name endure." This is what we can expect, but we have to summon the courage to flee from the surrounding culture and embrace the Torah, which is our only lifeboat in this storm. May we all merit to see the new heavens and the new earth that Hashem is preparing for those who revere his name and keep his Torah. My new book, Hold On, Surviving the Days Before Mashiach, is now available through my website, www.2020vision.co.il, through the distributor, www.feldheim.com, at amazon.com, or through your local Jewish bookstore. It describes these days in detail and suggests a strategy for survival. May Hashem bless us all and enable us to see the rebuilt Holy Temple in the city of Yerushalayim.